in the corner.
Have you and Neil figured out a name for janitor?
Yes. Do you want to know it?
Yes.
No, it's a spoiler. You want to know it? Neil Flynn and I, Neil Flynn is one of the most accomplished improv comedians in the country. If you don't follow improv comedy, if you're in Chicago, LA, or New York, you know, if you go see Up Front Citizens Brigade or the Groundlings or any of these groups, they all know Neil Flynn. He teaches it, he studies it. The coolest thing for me as a writer, the janitor makes up 90% of his lines. The guy's insane. And the best part is people will come say like, man, the janitor was so funny last night, man, I had nothing to do with it, but I'm like, thank you. Neil Flynn and I, we had a trap, okay, because when I first did the show, I thought it was going to be a giant disaster, so I didn't think anybody would ever watch the show. And so the janitor, the first year, if you go back and watch the DVDs, he speaks to no one other than JD, because he was going to be a figment of JD's imagination. And then the show kept going on, and in the second year, Neil Flynn's like, hey man, can I maybe talk to some of the other actors? All right. And he's the janitor, but then we wrote ourselves in this corner, because we had to come up with a big, you know, it's like Cosmo Kramer. You don't want to come up with some lame name, you know, that doesn't pay off the joke. So here's what I'll tell you. It's an ordinary name. I think it's funny. There's no way to figure it out. Here are two good pieces of trivia. One, very intentionally on this show, for 8 years, none of the regular characters asked the janitor what his name was. So there's your hint. Any of them had ever asked, you probably would have told them. And secondly, for those of you that are real nerds, the only clue we ever put out there for the crazy fans is the janitor's name is the same name he had when he was the janitor on the Fallen High. Fallen High, there's one episode that there's a janitor on it, it's addressed by name, it's the same guy. Guess what? All right, so we'll spread that around, man. I love that. What else? Anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Throughout 8 seasons, we've seen a lot of characters grow. Who's been your favorite kind of develop over these past few years?
Oh, shoot. You know what? It's hard to choose, man. I mean, you know what's tough the last 8 years? It's hard, you know. I really like the show. Really? No, I do. I'm serious. I thought it got a little silly, and for maybe the last year and a half or so, it got a little goofy and broad. I mean, there's one time we were sitting down in the writer's room, and I was like, did we just write an episode of television that there were ostriches wearing hats? I was like, what am I doing? So there was a little period in the middle there that maybe didn't grow as much. But I'll tell you what I like about each of the characters. I like JD and Turk's friendship, because when I was a kid, it's hard to believe, but I'm much older than you. When I was a kid, anytime a black guy and a white guy were friends on a sitcom, it was a very special episode. It was the episode that, you know, that Timmy has a black friend. I really just wanted to write a friendship relationship with two guys that would kill or die for each other, and that not only was race not an issue, but they can talk about it and joke about it. I like that Turk and Carla are a successful couple, you know, that are married and have children and have grown up. I like that Elliot, she became a little bitchy in the middle, because that was my fault, not hers. The actors do what I tell them to do, you know, but I like that she went from being insecure and just neurotic and is going to end up, you know, a competent and accomplished doctor. I like them all, you know. I mean, the tough thing is, when we watch television, you know, I'm a huge TV fan. I nerd out on TV shows. I'm good friends with Damon Lindelof, who created Lost, and it's so hard to hang out with him because we'll just be hanging out, drinking a beer or something, and I'm like, what's the island? Tell me what the island is. You know the dirty secret? He really doesn't know. That was out on the internet? He doesn't know! I've been talking for 4 years. But one thing that's hard about television is more so in film or theater, we like the people to stay the same. You know, it's like comfort food. It's like chicken soup, you know? Problem is, if your show's lucky enough to stay on too long, you know, after 8 years, you're like, isn't Zach Braff acting a little too childish? Something like this. So it's really hard to walk that line between keeping things the way people want them to be and having people grow older. But I like the end of this year, what happens to the character JD, that he grows up a lot.